Welcome back to Champion News Talk Radio, brought to you by championnews.net. Today's guests are Steve Balich and Tim Kraulidis, and we were talking during the break about the levy and some of the things that you have done that have really started moving the ball forward, from putting down those protest signs and picking up the clipboards and things.
Well, I know where you're going with this, and it's like, man, I can feel it in my blood boiling. Where I live in Homer Glen, we have, like I said earlier, we have a huge water bill. All right, so now your taxes go up because all these boards raise your money. So people that live there are aggravated. There's a point, they're losing their homes now, a lot of people, because they lost their jobs. Some people can't afford food for their kids. So when a school board says, well, we got to raise the taxes for the kids, they ain't doing nothing for the kids.
No.
Because the kid might not have the proper food now. The mother might have to work a job that she didn't have to, so they take two jobs, two second jobs, and the father's making less. So everybody's suffering. So now when we go to the school board and we say, we don't want you to raise the levy, everybody's hurting, stop it. You don't have to raise the levy.
Oh, but it's for the kids.
Well, then we tell them just what I said now.
I found out something, though. The kids aren't getting a salary.
Yeah, right.
Well, see,
80% of what's spent in the schools is salary.
What we've done is, we know that in order, we have
salaries
over 11,
aren't high enough, huh?
No.
So
we have over 11,000 people on our email list when you take the Will County Tea Party Alliance groups and put them all together.
So did you guys go protest,
so
or did
what
you
we
show
did
up?
is we sent out emails. That's how we contacted everybody. Then we did a robocall for each of the school districts. And we told the people we're going there and what we're going to do, and asked them to come. Well, when we go to a meeting, there's the high school one, we had about 60 people, which is a lot of people.
For a school board meeting? Oh, heck yeah, and it was right around Christmas time,
so when we get up there, I bring in a big sign that says, this is my tax bill. Is your tax bill as big as mine? And then we talk about raise my taxitis. Me and Tim came up with that term. In other words, the boards want to raise taxes. It's a disease called raise my taxitis. And so we promoted it. So it started getting local attention. And then when we went to it was District 92 school board, the chairman of the board actually used our term, raise my taxitis, saying that they don't have the disease, but they still want to raise the levy.
But you do a lot of writing in the newspapers and stuff. Now, Tim, we were talking too about the Tea Party dropping down the protest signs and getting engaged in the system. What do you mean by getting engaged? Is it sending out an email? Is that engaged? What's engaging the system?
What you're doing is you're taking, Tea Party started with an activist base. We wanted to make a difference. We wanted to make a change. But we wanted you to do it. And then we wanted to force you to do it. And we want to hold the hammer and beat you into doing it.
You meaning lawmakers. You're saying you meaning lawmakers.
Local legislators, whoever. If you pay any attention to how the process works, it doesn't take long to realize they'll tell you and use you to tell you whatever you want. And ultimately, you'll go away. And I want to pay kudos to Jack and his organization on the Renaissance PAC, because early on we noticed that when you talk about becoming a committeeman, well, what happens is most of us took that challenge and we became committeemen. We have, matter of fact, everybody that's running for Will County Board on our 2 years ago became a committeeman. So now we're within the structure, not outside the structure.
So you guys have been taken over by the Republican Party then?
I would say vice versa.
I would say the other way around.
Ironically enough, there was a lot of Tea Parties that were upset at me for being a rhino and a sellout.
Why? Because you got involved with Republican politics?
But if you are going to engage the system, then engage the system. You know that.
Sure. There's a lot of suspicion about it, and the Republican Party had it coming. It was just a bunch of big spenders that were keeping the present officers in place, and they were enjoying their Tea Party was with a little extended finger. It was a social thing where they were on the inside. Well, they blew themselves away with the failure of the election for governor, which never should have been lost.
Right.
And but they didn't give Brady a chance. They forced him and he never should have gone along with it. But the idea was never say anything that the Democrats could criticize until after the election. It wasn't the suburban women that caused Brady to lose. It was the foolish tactics of the people at the top of the Republican Party that were running the governor's race, but they weren't running the 4 races for congressmen that weren't supposed to win.
Right.
And Joe
One in
Walsh,
ours that we
and Joe
support.
Walsh, the outstanding
did
one.
Kinzinger.
We were Kinzinger. So
Kinzinger wasn't supposed to win,
Nope.
but they won with the help of the Tea Party people that got organized and
we crossed borders because my district, we didn't have anybody that we had to worry about, so
But
I
in
was
Will
helping
County-
Kinzinger, and I came out and walked for Joe Walsh.
But that, yes, you did. You did come out and walk for Joe Walsh. See, that's the thing. What unites us is so much more impactful and has so much more power to it. I mean, the thing is, I want to talk more to you, Tim, about being part of the Republican Party, or is the Republican Party becoming part of the Tea Party? What is actually happening here?
Well, I'm encouraged because I think as we come further, as we get involved in the process, the lines blur. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, because then they really can't identify you and critique you as one thing and dismiss you as just Tea Party.